Welcome to this episode of the Elite Question Askers. I am Jason Wells.
I'm Mo Williams.
I'm Dietrich Taylor.
Damn, that sounded good. I told you by episode. Mo, I heard you last episode too. I said episode 8. You said episode 5. We was going to get it together. Here we are, episode 3, and we already got it together. Man, I appreciate y'all, fellas. Let's get it, man. What'd you say?
Fast learners on here.
Yeah, you know, that's how I do it. As we start off every episode, first and foremost, fist bump moments from the past 7 days, week or so, whatever it is. Best part of your week, fist bump moments. What y'all got?
I'll take that. My fist bump moment is I'm coming to you live and direct from Hawaii. We traveled over here on Thursday. We played Saturday. So just trying to soak up the sun, enjoy the island, but also understand it's a business trip. So just being here and appreciating some of the sights and sounds of nature, truly, truly blessed, quite frankly. And that actually came from one of our players. I read his Twitter and he said that, and it made me think and reflect on the fact that I've been over here a 5 times and just a different level of appreciation for it, seeing as how we just have gone through, a world pandemic. So being able to get on that bird and fly 5.5 hours to get here and play this game called basketball, it's nothing short of a true blessing.
No doubt. And I was going to actually ask you that, bro. Like, how many of your guys is this first time? Obviously, it'll be newer guys, but like, have any of the new guys been to Hawaii before?
Based on the reaction and their response, I would say no.
Wow.
I would say a majority of our guys have not been to Hawaii. I think maybe 2 of the 13, maybe 3 of the 13 have been to Hawaii, before, let alone coming here a couple, 3 days and having a game.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about it, like even last year, did y'all go there last year? Or did they come to you guys?
They came to us. The schedule allowed them to come and play 2 games at our place. We we didn't have to come back over here.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just thought about that. Man, that's major. That's major. Am I allowed
to ask an elite question?
Man, that's who we are, Mo Williams.
All right. I'm afraid to ask this to DT because it might go completely the other way. But is it true when you land in Hawaii that you get laid?
You know what? I think that used to be the case. I don't think that is the case now because I did not get laid when I landed Thursday.
I'm very proud of you for maintaining
mature Mondays on TLS Radio. Did you get laid when you got off the plane? If you don't know what we're talking about, do your Hawaiian research.
Yeah, that was a pothole question. But I'm gonna keep it mature, and I'll respond maturely.
I'm proud of you.
What you got, man? I'm gonna cut this short. I'm about to play Brandon Marshall on this one. I'm gonna cut this one short. What's your fist bump moment, Mo?
Oh, okay. I thought you were cutting the segment short. For me, we had a senior day game this past weekend, and the fist bump moment is, as a coach, just continuing to remind myself that I don't have to be the primary decision maker in our program. So we had 3 seniors that play for us, play minutes for us, and the 4th one is a walk-on. And great young man, serves us in a lot of different ways. And this was a huge game, but I did not have him starting in that game. And just, for listeners that aren't aware, like at the Division I level, the guys that are typically walk-ons don't start. They really don't get the opportunity to play. So I was hoping the game got to a point where we'd be able to play him. But my focus was just getting a really good start because of the last game we played. And proud of my guys and proud of myself for creating an environment where they feel comfortable to come to me and ask questions and voice how they feel. And several of them had told me, hey, we really want to start this particular person. And I was like, okay, all right, let me think about it. And usually before the game, I always write up the first play, and there was only 4 guys on the board. And I wrote his name on the board, and the locker room like went crazy, and the young man was in tears. So it was an awesome feeling to see that. And we got the W, played very well, won by like 14. So that was kind of the icing on the cake there.
I shot my emoji up there, fist bump on camera. From a straight basketball standpoint, Mo, did you start off any certain kind of way? Did the guys start off still with the same energy as the typical starting lineup, or was it a drop off?
There wasn't any drop off. I would say from our perspective, and something I hammered was, you're good enough to be in this moment. Just do your job and enjoy every moment that you feel while you're in this. So every time people celebrate you, if you make a shot, if you take a shot, just know that we're proud of you. We're happy for you. You deserve this moment. But there wasn't any drop off. And I think our focal point as a team was nothing's any different. But, here's an opportunity for us to celebrate one of our brothers, and the guys did a really good job of that.
Mo, I feel like you should have went last, because that would have been a fire transition into what we're doing and what we're talking about today. But I will throw in my fist bump moment. Fellas, here we are recording. We are 2 weeks into February, and I'm just going to be real. It's been a challenging month. For me personally. And the challenge isn't like, I'm going through these hard times and rough patch of life. It's actually not that at all. The challenge has been, and this actually kind of just came to me yesterday night, today. The challenge is I have found myself in these first 10 days, 11 days of February, giving as much as I typically give, or as much as I normally give, serving as much as I normally serve. And it just hit me in the last 24 to 48 hours that the biggest difference that I'm not doing as much is, as much as I serve, I'm not serving me first. And you guys have both heard me say that, I share, my whole thing is I serve the world from my overflow. So for me to be the best Jayson for the people who need Jayson to be Jayson, I'm serving from my cup runneth over, as my dad used to say. And that's a real analogy, man. A lot of the people, and you guys know this as 2 of them, the people that I work with, I call them explorers. I found the challenge with calling people clients. What we do is so much more than just a client relationship. So there's a meaning behind explorers that, when it's time to get to it, we'll get to it. But for as much as I serve, the most important part for me is to make sure that I'm showing up for me first. And I feel like in this first few days of the month of February, I've not done a great job of that. And so therefore, when I serve as much as I serve and I'm not in my overflow, I found myself a couple of days ago, Tuesday night, I found myself extremely overwhelmed and taking it out on people that are on my team, whether it's my lady or whether it's my team that I work with, my people who do my merchandise, from like all these different things. And it was really just, Jay, you're overwhelmed. And so my fist bump moment is A, the acknowledgement of that, and B, just knowing how to get out of it. And so, when you hear me say something like I'm selfish, yeah, I'm selfish, but that ain't ego selfishness. That's higher selfishness of knowing that the better me I am, the better I am to the world. So that would be my fist bump moment, is kind of the acknowledgement of that, and just getting to a point of, yeah, man, life happens for all of us. A lot of people thinking, and I know you guys know this because we've had these conversations, but I will also have conversations with people that'll tell me some stuff like, Jay, man, you'll never have bad days. Oh, okay. keep believing that. Keep believing that. So that would be my fist bump moment.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Can you tell us what overwhelmed Jayson looks like? What is within that environment? What factors create that sensation?
Yeah. What factors is I felt myself getting pulled in a bunch of directions that I don't necessarily want to be pulled in. So I mentioned my teammates, and you guys know one of them, Kimon. So my teammates that helped me specifically with merchandise, my whole deal to them is I don't have a desire to run a t-shirt company or a clothing merchandise company. That ain't what I do. Yes, and it's funny because this is the one episode for people watching that I don't have a progress over perfection or an embrace your story shirt on, but yeah, that's your wheelhouse. I don't want to have to deal with that. And it's all wrapped in a blessing. So I spoke with Kimon School. I mentioned this as my fist bump moment. I spoke with Kimon School a couple weeks ago. They ordered 600 shirts. And now the ordering of the 600 shirts has become a headache to me because now it's $2,400 to ship it out to California. It's already a $7,000 or $8,000 order just to order the shirts and get them printed up. You know, it's just a whole bunch of stuff. And that stuff takes away from who I am and what I do. And yeah, the overwhelm looks like me talking to my lady in a way that I don't want to talk to her. And it's got nothing to do with her. It's just the frustration that she got. Or me even talking to them. I'm voice messaging Kimon and I'm throwing the phone down like I'm hanging up on him. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't towards him. It's ultimately towards me because I knew I got frustrated. So yeah, overwhelmed Jayson is not who I'm committed to show up as. And yeah, in that moment, it's just this ain't who I want to be. So let me fix this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I was just curious from a standpoint of everybody I think goes through that, but how everybody responds is not the same way.
Yeah.
It's being who you are, telling us how you respond to get back to being who you are and who you want to show up as is as important as anything. You know, being overwhelmed, okay, that's cool. Now how do you respond? Do you lash out? Do you throw your phone down? You know, all of those things. And that's not who you necessarily want to show up, but it happens. It definitely happens. And the other thing too is I don't know if voicemail is something new to you, but please stop voicemailing me. Ain't nobody, I don't have time for that, man. Just text me.
But here's the thing though. It's so much easier to say it. All you got to do is hit a button. Why you and you get to actually hear me say it. Because when I do the text, it's voice to text anyway. So I
voice texted because like my thing is this is like you might send one and I might be in the middle of something and I might hear it, but once I hear it, it's gone. And you know how I am, man. If I hear it and it's gone, hey, listen.
It's gone.
It's gone, bro.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we ain't gonna even go down that path. Oh, point noted. Point noted.
Thank you.
Let's do it, man. Let's get really quickly into this Ignite question. Fellas, let's keep it as minimal as possible just so we can get into the real content. But I would love to hear you guys share a story, a quick story. Let's call it 2 minutes or less. If I say 2, that'll keep y'all to 3. 2 minutes or less, because y'all coaches, man. Share a story about the coach that impacted you most. It could be impacted your life. It could be impacted your basketball career. Share a story about the coach that impacted you most and why. Like the why could be the character quality traits that he or she possessed, whatever it is. But yeah, let's go there. Let's start there. I don't care who go first. What y'all got?
Go ahead, Mo.
You always love throwing me to go first.
I always do. I appreciate the deferment. I appreciate it.
It's cool, man. The one thing about me, I wasn't as good as you two, but I never mind shooting the ball. But my answer
King
to
of
this,
backhand slaps there, by the way. But go ahead.
But my answer to that question is probably very different than you would think. I think you asked it as if it was going to be this positive, like the examples you gave were these positive examples. For me, I won't say where, but I'll say I had a series of coaches that caused me to go through a traumatic experience. And I always say my why, or why I got into coaching, is I realized that my pain, my purpose was birthed in my pain. And, quickly, what I mean by that is coaches that cut me or denied me an opportunity ultimately led to me wanting to be a coach. And I heard this a long time ago when I first knew I wanted to get into coaching. It was by a famous high school coach named Morgan Wooten. And he said to us, be the coach that you've always wanted to play for. And that drives me even to this day, hearing that 13, 14 years later, to just bring these guys experiences in an environment. Even the story I said earlier, that proved to me right there that I'm providing and being the coach that I've always wanted to play for. And for me, I'm thankful for those coaches that denied me an opportunity or didn't think I was good enough or the experience wasn't great, because it allows me now, leading a program, being blessed to be in this space, to provide experiences intentionally that I would have never gotten. And I think every day I wake up, every day we have a practice, I'm excited to just ignite their fire and just give them something that they can use in their day or in their life. And just because I give it to them, just like any gift, doesn't mean they're going to use it. Like there's gifts that we have in our house, if we keep it real, that they might be still sitting where when you first got it. But my ultimate goal is that after a while, if you just sat it there, you'll find out what the purpose of it is. And you'll be reminded of, my coach gave that to me. Message. So that's my answer to yours.
Man, I wish I could hang around y'all more often. Go ahead, D.
I'm going to just say this really quick. Mo, can you write those guys or those coaches a thank you note from me and tell them I said thank you for doing that to you? Because if they didn't, we would know who you are, the way you are, and the way you show up for us, for me and this other dude on the screen. It's super impactful, but it's super, I don't even know how to put it in words, but it's appreciated. Let's just say that.
No doubt.
To get to the other question, or get to the question, mine is a little bit different than Mo. I'm going to say my dad, for a lot of different reasons. He did not, or wasn't top of the line in terms of X's and O's, but I think what he gave to me, I didn't understand it until later on in life, later on in my career. And it's just simple, the way you treat people. And I look at my dad now, and he literally, it doesn't matter who you are, where, when, how many times you've met him, you just feel compelled to give to him whatever it is that you have, whether it's money, whether it's effort, whether it's energy, it really doesn't matter. You just feel, you feel some type of way. And for that, I appreciate that, because a lot of what we do in coaching is not X's and O's. It's, can you get so-and-so players to do so-and-so thing at so-and-so time and be consistent at doing it. And I think over the course of my dad's career, he was able to do that, even though it was at the high school level. He's one of the most decorated high school coaches I know of. And he gave me that. He showed that to me. And again, I didn't understand that as a 14, 13-year-old dude. I was rebelling and trying to fight the guy, but I lost. I talk about too, but again, just super appreciative for what he showed me. That would be non-X and O related.
At some point, we're gonna have to share with the listeners the story that you shared with me a couple days ago about him kicking you out of practice. Not right now, but I have to hear that, and I have to allow that space for our listeners to hear that version, your version of that story. So
that happened all the time. He kicked me out.
Oh, it wasn't just once?
No way. Sent me home to my mama like it was a thing to do. And then called me all kind of punks when he got home. I'm like, wow, who are you? But
You gotta eat dinner with this dude.
Right across from him. And he act like nothing happened. And I'm like fuming. Like you can see the smoke out of my ears and the attitude. And I'm like, this dude got the audacity to act like he didn't just kick me out of practice 30 minutes ago.
I told you to go home to your mama?
The mama. In front of my boys. In front of my boys. Man, if that ain't the ultimate, I don't even know what is, player.
Oh, man. All right. Mine is DT, just like you. I played for my dad for 1 year, but it was in middle school. It was actually my second organized year. And that was simply because he was the dad that had the time to be able to coach us middle school kids. Mo, very much like you, I have had those coaches who have been, let's just call it negatively impactful into my life and my career. And I decided pretty quickly that this is not what I wanted to do if I was ever in that position. But the dude that comes to mind for me is my senior year of college. So I was recruited by one staff and played for them my freshman, sophomore, junior year. And then my head coach that recruited me, I was actually his first recruit. D, I know you know him, and Mo, you may, but Sherman Dillard is who recruited me. And coach got the opportunity to leave Indiana State and go back to his alma mater, James Madison, and be the head coach. And so that happened going into my junior year. And we got a new coaching staff that came in led by Royce Walkman. And Royce has passed on now. God bless him. But he's what I refer to as a Bobby Knight disciple. He was, and this is real. He was on those Bobby Knight Indiana teams as an assistant coach, and he brought that to Terre Haute, Indiana for the next 6 or 7 years, of which I was his first. But fellas, let me tell you what, man. You're talking about a short, fat, old white dude, just calling him what he is. And when I tell you I learned more basketball in that 8 months than I had probably learned, and this is with all due respect to any coach that I had played for up to that point, but I learned more basketball, more of how to play basketball in those 8 months than I did in probably the previous years combined. I tell people all the time, if I would have played for him for more than just 1 year, the trajectory of my career would have probably been different. Like I'd have probably went to the league just on just knowing how to play. But the things that he brought were like ingraining that tough. He's from Pennsylvania, so Midwest. You know, he coached at the Division II level with high success. So he knows, you know, perseverance, that whole Midwest blue collar deal of loyalty, hard work, discipline, structure. But within that, once you understand that is there, that firmness is there, you also realize that you got a whole lot of flexibility within that. And the first thing he did was ask me, he came in and I'm 6'7", because I still grew a little bit after college, 6'7", think I might have got up to 205, maybe 210. And the first thing he did, I look like a microphone stand. It was no muscle. The first thing he did was ask me to play the 5. And, you know, this the Missouri Valley. Like this, we ain't no slouches now. You got guys, and at that time, we had some dogs at Illinois State, at Southern Illinois, at Creighton. And he asked me to play the 5, and he asked me to do that and stop shooting so many threes on offense. So I think I shot this is coming from 2 years before that. Sophomore year, I was the top 3-point shooter in the conference. Senior year, I think I shot 17 threes my entire senior year. I left out of there, first team all conference, Larry Bird MVP. We had our first winning season since the year after Larry Bird left. And I was second in leading the league in rebounds by percentage points. Like, I think the guy that led it was like 9.1 and I was like 8.9. Dude taught me how to play, and it was all based around what I took from him was, here's this structure and this discipline, and within this structure and this discipline comes the freedom and the flexibility. That was it. You can, here's these guardrails, and you can bump into them jokers if you need to. Just don't go outside of them. And that ultimately became how I played my career, especially my professional career, how I coached when I was on the court, and ultimately who I am right now, man. Like, I'm gonna set this structure, and within that structure, here's the freedom and the flexibility. So that would be it. I feel like we went over on that, but I still feel like that was good.
Yeah, but don't say we. I think you went over. I think Mo and I were within the 2-minute time frame. I think you went well over.
I think there's also some emojis on this thing other than fist bump that we're gonna see if they work. And we'll see who tunes in on YouTube to actually watch what these.
I'll just try to help you be more specific in defining what you were trying to say. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect. So I won't talk anymore. I'm gonna ask all the rest of the questions. So first question, and I ain't gonna even go in order right here, fellas. You guys are head coaches on 2 different levels for people who are paying attention to that or keep up with that. So D, you're a Division I head coach, Cal State Fullerton, Big West Conference. Mo, you're a Division III head coach, Salisbury University. And both of you are head coaches, but if you had to say to the people who don't know your job, what is something that most people don't know about your job, but you wish that they did? Yeah.
Go ahead, Mo.
Embrace the silence.
Of course. How much my job is not related to basketball.
Tell me more about that.
Sure.
Especially as DT over there. If DT had a fan, he'd be an old lady in church right now. Let the church say amen.
Hey,
like the percentage of my job, how much of, like, if it's percentage wise, how much it's not related to basketball, and my title says basketball. Like, we played a game I told you about earlier in the show, and it was one of the most fun games I got to coach this year because I didn't coach anything except basketball. We had practice today. It was a basketball practice, but you'd be amazed at how much energy I had to put into other things. Like, for example, energy, communication, teaching, discipline, academic monitoring. Like, all that stuff happened while the practice was going on or before the practice. I think what people see is, he's got a whistle and he's coaching practice. They had no idea that I had 2 guys that didn't turn in their academic reports on time. So now I have to discipline the team after practice, which I don't want to do because we got a game. And then I'm also trying to improve other things within our group as far as our communication and our discipline. So I have to do different things as well, because instead of just telling them, they have to be able to learn that discipline in a different way. And then lastly, just like how much my day is not basketball. I mean, there's administrative duties, there's the characters of the team, which is its own job. We had a shout out to Marlon Gill, but I remember him saying this a few weeks ago, and I thought it was so true. But he said, as coaches, we don't get paid enough for the amount of hours that are put into this job and what it's required of. And I thought that was a really profound statement, especially with the levels. Because no disrespect to DT, but the amount of things that I do as a head coach that at a higher level they don't have to do. We don't have a video coordinator or a director of operations. I do all those things. I just put together an itinerary for our trip next week. So yeah, there's just a lot that goes into it that I don't think people understand. And, basketball is really a small percentage of what we actually do.
D, before you go, appreciate that, Mo. Before you go, I just do people even truly, this is not a question for us, but people don't even truly understand you guys being on different levels, being in different divisions. Mo, what you just said is so powerful. D, you have resources that Mo doesn't even have access to, whether it's a title or whether it's the number of people that you got. Like you got managers there and people that are there that are rebounding and doing different things. So just from a resource standpoint, there are things that you have access to that Mo doesn't even have access to. I don't know if people really understand that. I don't know if people get that. And with that being said, clearly you got your share of frustrations as well. So like, what would that look like for you, D? What's something that you wish people knew about your job?
I was trying to come up with something that it was different than Mo, but I can't. Since Mo started it, it just parks my mind right there. I think the example that I would give is just also being responsible for other people's energy, their mood overall, trying to be responsible for their productivity. There's so many things that go into you walking up and down the sideline on game day looking a certain type of way, and then if you don't look that certain type of way, obviously people will say something to you. And so you have to really be a chameleon. You have to be ready for any and everything, sometimes good, sometimes bad, but there is very few things that you are not involved in, and you're not the battery that makes it go. And that takes a boatload of energy from you. And it also takes away from your ability to be who you thought you wanted to be, which is a coach, an X&O coach. A good friend of mine said this to me a long time ago before I became a head coach. He said, hey, at some point, he told this to his team, he was a head coach. He said, at some point, I have to stop coaching energy so that I can concentrate on X's and O's. And that made a lot of sense to me, but it's rare. It's very, very rare that you are not coaching energy. You're not coaching effort. You actually are coaching all of the other things that go into energy and effort. And so, you might have your play card, but you can't really get to the script on your play card because your team is not giving you energy. They're not giving you effort. They're not giving you, a part of them that has nothing to do with the X's and O's. And so you have to figure out as a coach how to affect that, how to impact that, and I would say that most people, they might be aware of it, but they also are not giving you credit for having to handle that. From an, like Mo mentioned, administrative standpoint. I mean, it's just so much stuff. But in the same token, it is a lot of stuff. But the one thing that people like to say, well, that's why you're a head coach. Hey man, I'm about 30 seconds saying, hey, why don't you take it? You can have
it. Yeah. So, like, you guys are different. And yes, you are. Yes, you are. You can shake your head all you want to. You are. And I'm going to tell you why you're different as I lead into this question. You guys are different in different ways, if that even makes sense. And I've shared this with each of you in a group and individually. D, you are different because you are a 9-year head coach, a 39-year coach just because of how old you are. You've been coaching for that long. There you go. I appreciate it. Every time it's the thumb, dog, I'm cool. Long as it ain't the middle finger, I'm good. No, but you've been in this space. You've been around. You've coached guys that we are household names. It would be very easy for you to sit in a place of complacency and say, I've done this. Cool. I ain't got nothing else to learn. Yet, when we met, funny, just over a year ago, I think the biggest thing that I learned from you was just how curious and eager you are to continue learning. So you're different. Because like there are guys in this space who have no interest in somebody like me because they have no interest in continuing to learn. So you can shake your head all you want to. Yes, you're different. Mo, you're different. And I've shared this with you before. From almost conversation number one, I've called you KD or Bron or Steph. Like for me, I can't come to you with stereotypical, hey man, you got to know your purpose. Like, oh, I done been there, done that. Like I can't come to KD and tell him, hey man, get your elbow up over your head, up, you know, nah, bro, that ain't it. You know, so in your differences of, you know, being curious to continue to grow and being curious to learn yourself and personal accountability and all this, I want to know what inspires you to show up differently, specifically in this coaching space. Because there are so many guys and ladies. We're not going to exclude them either, because you got some ladies that are in this space too that are stuck in their ways. So what allows you and inspires you to show up differently, specifically in this coaching space? D, I'm going to call on you first.
I think it goes back to episode 1. I think we talked about I am fortunate to be able to be one that is attracted to, that is drawn by, that is driven by creating this space that allows change to happen. When people in my world, particularly dealing with young men that are 18 to 22, 23-year-olds that are trying to hurry up and experience the world to get what they think they are supposed to get. When they tell me what it is that they want, I get excited by the fact that I get to allow them to see what that experience looks like on a day-to-day basis, but then also remind them of what it is that they want and ask them, are their actions in alignment with those things? And if they are, then you can expect change to happen. And if they're not, you also can expect change to happen, but it's not going to be or show up the way that they wanted to, the way that they needed to. And that for me is what inspires me. I think, you know, going back to your question in terms of what coach did that sort of for me, that's what I latched on to. I latched on to a lot of basketball stuff, but also latched on to people that did what the word means. It inspire you, you know, give you some hope, give you something to hang on to or be guided by, so to speak. And that was important for me. And it's important that I show up in that space every single day, or I try. I don't know that I do. I try to show up in that space every day.
Yeah, I think for me, oh, go ahead. Oh, I think for me, honestly, man, it's what inspires me to show up different in this space is that there's no finish line. Like, you can always get better. There's always a new way of doing things. And to give DT credit as well, like, that's what attracted me to him. Like, if you talk to him, you didn't even know the dude is a Division I head college basketball coach. You know, it's like the amount of questions that he asked me sometimes, I'm like, hold up, shouldn't I be asking you that? And it's just the way his curiosity works is something that really attracted me to him. But in my own way, I'm the exact same way. I'm always just trying to learn new ways and what's different. I'm always like, Jay, you kind of helped me discover this, but I always love like mic'd up segments with coaches. I never knew why. I just, hey, you know, kind of let my mind wander. And Jay, what you do is you connect dots, you clear fog. So you cleared a fog for me that I was literally just continuing to birth and polish this passion but I didn't know I was doing that.
Mm.
I didn't know I was doing that. And I think for me, you know, what inspires me just that there's always something new and a more efficient way of doing things. And even if we hit the mountaintop or the peak, you know, I believe that peak is so small because we're not supposed to be there that long. So, you know, once that climb is up or whatever we achieve or that season's over, I look forward to going back down and starting again. Where I think most people that frustrates them, that scares them. Why do we got to go all the way back? I look forward to that. You know, I always want to debrief, step away, but I look forward to when the season ends, replaying our film and not just our basketball film, but my film. You know, what could I do better? Well, how can I be more efficient? You know, how can I evaluate things better? How can I evaluate myself better? So that's what inspires me is improvement every single day and finding new ways on how to show up.
What would you say? What would you say to coaches who in a, I don't even know the best way to put this, like stuck in their ways? Still, we talked a little bit about this episode 1, Mo, when you brought up the statement, you know, those ones that you're off the charts, man.
He's on today.
That will say, you know, hey, yo, I'm good. This is the way that I was coached, and this is what I believe, and this is what I'm sticking with, especially if they've had some success with it. You know, let them win a couple games, or let them get a couple conference championships, or let them get a couple state championships if they're on a high school level. No, I ain't changing because this is the way that it should be done, because this is the way that I know. Like, what would you say to those coaches who may not be so curious about growing?
If I'll jump in really quick and I'll just say this, you know, I jokingly put the thumbs up, but like, good for them. I'm not attracted to them. I don't want to have anything to do with them. I hope they have success. I wish them well. I have a boatload of respect for them.
Come on, man. It's Mature Mondays. You can say it.
No, I can't say that. Can't say that. I can't let everybody know what I'll be doing. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I have a boatload of respect for them. But in the same token, I have that's just not me. That's not who I am. That's not how I'm driven. You know, I think at the tail end, Mo was talking about, I'm going to use this word. He used different words, but feedback. Like for me, I covet honest feedback. And that's just who I am. Like, and I say it to you guys all the time, like, don't sugarcoat anything because I'm not that smart. I don't have time to play mental gymnastics with people. Like, tell me what you think in the least amount of words possible. If you think it's going to hurt my feelings, that's even better, because now you have my full attention. And now there's a chance, there's space provided for me to figure out, is that an opportunity for me to get better? That's just how I operate. And there are certain factions of people that don't operate that way. And good for them. I hope that the way that they believe leads them to success. For me, it doesn't. What leads me to success is just the constant reevaluating, the constant feedback, the constant chase of, like Mo said, after the end of the season, if you reach the pinnacle of success, hey man, I want to do it again. I want to do it again. I want to do it again. And you know this, and I say this all the time, but like no level of success looks the same. It's success, but it might not look the same as it did last year. It might not look the same as it did, or you might not be able to achieve it the same way. And so that's what excites me. And again, for those people that, you know, do things the same way and they don't want to hear what we have to say, cool. That's one less person I got to talk to. And that kind of goes, you know, with you guys know how I am. If you don't rock with me,
get off the bus.
Awesome.
I just have a brief comment to that. I think people's fight to change is wrapped up in an insecurity.
Wow. Say that again. Say that again, please.
Tweetable moment.
Woo! What do you say? Yeah, man. Dag blasted.
But no, I think it's wrapped up in an insecurity. It's wrapped up in an insecurity, and your fear of changing is really why you don't want to change. So that's just my comment towards that.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and bring up that V word. And we ain't talking about the V word for Valentine. We talking about the other V word. Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it.
I don't know what word that is.
With a level of insecurity, there comes a level of vulnerability.
Message. All right, so here we go. Cool, DT. I appreciate you for opening that door, and we're gonna let this transition. So, give us a level of vulnerability right here, and I ain't gonna even go deep because we'll get deep over the course of the season, but different levels. You have a level of expectation, responsibility, accountability, all these different things. And Mo, I know you, like, one of the reasons that you decided to coach at that level is because with your family, I get to go home. I don't have to necessarily be on the road recruiting like that for days at a time and all that. And so with all of the pressures that we talked about, wishing people knew something about your job that they don't really know, and all the other things that go along with that, when it's time to chill, when it's time to decompress, when it's time to disconnect, let's be vulnerable. What do you do? Because I know, because I work with some of them, there are guys that do what you do that almost refuse to disconnect. So how do you do it? Or do you do it? Are you one of those guys? I don't know.
I'm gonna jump in here and say there also are guys that don't know how.
As you point to yourself.
I'm totally that person, and I will tell anybody that's going on vacation.
6 fingers, Mo. 6. It's 6.
Doing their thing. With me, I don't know. Like this morning, I'm in Hawaii, so I go for a walk, and literally I see people like laying in hammocks and just literally just hanging out, and I'm like, dang, that's awesome. But for me, I don't know how to do that. Like I would be so antsy.
What you think what somebody else is working? What's going, why won't you allow yourself to do that?
Just, somebody's working. There's something I should be doing or could be doing. I think I've gotten better over the course of time. My affection for or affinity for golf has helped that. But even still, man, like it just seems like there's something more I should be doing. There's something else I should be doing. Well, what about this? Well, what about that? And that doesn't make me any good, any better, or any worse than anybody. It's a reality that I have to fight. That I have to be present in the moment, like when I'm with my family or with my girls in particular. When I'm with them and my phone is ringing, or I know it's a recruiting call, or I know I've intentionally, hey man, no, I turn that thing off. I'm with these chicks because I don't want them to be like, man, my dad is always working. He doesn't have time for me. I don't want them to feel that way. I don't want to give them that sensation. So yes, do I think that's important for me? Yes. Would I recommend that? Yes. And oh yeah, by the way, I have this big long ass scar down the back of my head, which totally changed my perspective, totally changed how I look at things being a quote unquote head coach. That's nothing but a title. That don't mean nothing. That literally doesn't mean nothing. And so, there's a lot of ways that I think maybe different than the next head coach.
Yeah. Appreciate that, bro. Mo, what you got?
I just want to make sure I'm answering this effectively, because I'm not trying to be funny. Like I really did relate to things that DT said. But basically, you're asking how we can like decompress, like how do we?
How do you like? What do you say? What do you do to say basketball is not on my mind right now? I'm about to disassociate myself completely from that. What do that look like for Mo Williams?
Cool. I think if you can disassociate yourself with it, you're probably not very good at your job.
Interesting.
Like that's just my opinion. I never think you can disassociate with it. I think for me, it's how can I create it while also having my family involved or as a priority. So I mean, having a daughter now, or being a head coach, I can bring her to the gym. I took her recruiting the other day. It didn't last long, but we were in there for about 10 minutes. But no, I think, man, and it's the same thing with players that are challenging the coach, and not the defiant ones, but the ones that are perfectionists. Like I have two that they miss a layup, slam the ball, and I stopped trying to like change those guys. Because in reality, what makes them great players or great students is because they care so much. So instead, it's like, okay, when you get to that point, let's figure out a different way to, instead of reacting, respond. Or, okay, you're really, really looking at the result. Let's focus more on the process as to why you didn't achieve that result. And it's the same thing with me. Like my intentional focus or thought of our basketball program every day is what makes me a good coach. So I don't want to not be that and just shut that off. But I think it's when you're in these spaces, making sure the people that you care about most are a priority. Unlike what DT said, I actually can sit on a hammock and relax because I realize that I guess I'm more a comfort or peace faith-wise, that if I keep working, that taps into an insecurity for me, where in reality, it's if God truly orders our steps, at least what I believe, me doing more or continuing to watch more film isn't what's going to help us become a better basketball program.
Yeah. And
I think ultimately it goes back to what you said about what do you need to be able to show up being your best in these spaces. For me, it's, family time and stepping away. It's laughing. Like I was watching some Mike Epps earlier, working out, spending spiritual time, whatever I need. Yeah. But I think honestly, Jay, it doesn't shut off. It's just when you're with those people, making sure they're a priority. And
Mo, I love that, and I'll chime in quickly, especially since I know I'm on the clock, DT's clock. But I relate to that. And love your intentionality of saying, okay, cool. I don't know if I do disconnect or disassociate. I just find ways to integrate more than that. You guys both know, and maybe you don't know, but I think you know because I shared. My phone goes on automatic do not disturb every night at 9:00 Eastern time. And maybe I joke and say maybe you guys don't know because both of y'all are in my favorites. And so even if you call after that time, you guys will come through. But it's intentional, really intentional, that it's shutdown time. And it does not come off a do not disturb until 8:00 the next morning. And I wake up at 5:30 because the first 2.5, 3 hours of the day are my time, my prime time. So I'm not starting my day on somebody else's agenda. So that's how I disconnect. And Mo, like you said, it will be old episodes of Martin, or last weekend I watched Do the Right Thing and got a whole new appreciation for the movie. So I'm not in this place where I'm always learning. And you guys, much like what you said, Mo, I could be watching The Wiz and get some content out of it. You know what I'm saying? Ted Lasso or something like that. So I also educate myself through my entertainment, which doesn't allow me to completely disconnect, but it does allow me to be in this space. 5 minutes left, fellas. Money moment time. What you got? I'll start since you guys have been talking to most of this. It is, my money moment would be, it is absolutely amazing to me that how much I know you guys. One, DT, we've only shared the same space 2.5 times if we count that first dinner. And the 2 times that I've been out to California, Mo, we have not shared the same physical space. It amazes me how closely connected I feel to you guys. And listening to you, I am often wowed at the fact that I have the honor and the pleasure to work with you guys, or to have, I shared this with one of my guys, the fact that you guys go through what you go through as coaches, as men, as people, and think to, you know what, let me call Jay Wells, or let me call Mo, or let me call DT. I think the fact that we're in this circle, man, listening to you guys talk and all the wisdom that you have, man, that's a money moment for me. Is just like, you guys are some really, really, really smart dudes, really wise dudes. And the fact that I'm somebody that is now in your thought process when you want a piece of advice, or you want somebody to vent to, or whatever it is, I'm that. So that's a money moment for me, is just a recognition of that.
I'll go next, man, because DT likes to pull up the rear.
I don't even say it.
What? That's what you said last episode.
Hey, seriously, don't you have to?
I'm sorry. Real quick, I appreciate that compliment, and both of you guys served that space for me. But I think the compliment you give me of my wisdom is because of the acknowledgement of my mistakes. And I think I said this to you guys before, but DT, I know you can relate to this. Like recruiting, going on the road, there's nothing worse than you're trying to make a game and you're not paying attention and you miss the exit. And the next exit is so long. So you gotta stay on that journey until the next exit goes back. And I think while that's relative to what I'm trying to say is I just don't want to miss any more exits in my life. So instead of choosing to try to figure things out or do it on my own, I just realized that we're a lot stronger together. And all I try to do is create those spaces for other people. And if I can go deeper, create those spaces for younger coaches or younger people that look like us or don't look like us. But, I think about just missing those exits. That's where I guess the wisdom that you compliment me on is I messed up in those spaces, and I just don't want to miss those exits again. So that's my money moment, is just continuing to just be thankful for you guys and continue to be there for me. And I'm blessed and honored that I could do that for you guys.
Yeah, man, that's
keep it quick, DT. We still got time for some action. See what I did right there? Go.
That's heavy. I'm gonna channel my inner Jayson Wells and say that my desire to learn myself through other people is one of the driving forces that I use. I'm trying to learn how I show up, but I use information from other people and experiences from other people and perspectives from other people, and I covet that information. I don't know how smart I am. I actually don't think I'm very smart, but I try to align myself with people that are smarter than I. And that's the nature of the relationship that I have with both of you and other people that I would consider in that, in that circle, that are smarter than me, that can give me a different perspective. But also I think with you two, it leads you to accountability. When I call and I start talking about X, Y, and Z, you guys quickly, hey, that's not over here with this. You talking about something that really don't matter. And it quickly, it's like somebody snaps a finger and I can just automatically snap out of it. And I think that has a lot to do with the trust that I have with you and the others that are in that circle, and allowing other people to, as Mo said, be a part of our success. Like, you can achieve success with a group of people and it feels so much better. If you want to achieve a level of success by yourself, then go play golf, go play tennis, but even those sports, your caddy is so instrumental in helping you be successful. So that's just how I am, man. I'm driven by that, and I'm driven by people that think like that. that are willing to show up for me in those areas, but then also vice versa are willing to allow me to show up for them in those situations and in those scenarios. And you covet that information and you grow out of whatever the situation, whatever the scenario is, whether it's good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent. I think there's a learning opportunity within those situations. And if you don't learn it and you're not better for it, I think you missed it.
Man, I'm gonna find a mic drop sound and we're gonna start incorporating some sound effects. Man, I appreciate y'all. We will continue to push the envelope, move, step, jump, all of that. Episode 3 has come to an end. Make sure you stay tuned. Go to our fan page, www.tlscradio.com. Go to our fan page. Yo, man, keep spreading the word. YouTube as well. The Elite Question Askers YouTube page. Go on there. You can actually see us and see the foolery that we do on camera, like what's happening right now, or throwing 3 to the head and all that. So until next time, I appreciate y'all, man. Mo, DT, love y'all boys, man.
Love you too, man. Peace.
One love.
Peace.